This out, you guys. So the idea of maturity, adulthood, adulting, anything related to having to quote unquote grow up is a farce. It is quite literally an illusion. It isn't real. Um, and I've had a lot of time to grapple with this, and I've come to the conclusion that there is only one way to look at this, right? And it is to realize that the whole idea of maturity is not something you want to buy into. Because all the people that I've ever met that I ever take themselves too serious, it's like it's something that I'm like, this isn't real. This isn't necessarily a way to sort of prove that you're responsible, that you're all these quote unquote positive things, right? So I would say instead, what you should do is realize that it is important to maintain some childlike curiosity for the world. I think you get more out of life. You are able to squeeze more juice out of life if you go about it with that sort of curiosity. If you ever see a child, look at the way that they sort of go about things, right? Everything is novel, everything is new, everything is interesting, everything is open to interpretation, right? And so, with that sort of gusto, you should try to go about life in that way, metaphorically speaking, right? Get your fingers dirty, get in the dirt, have some fun, try new things, explore new places, things of that nature. That is what that childlike curiosity can bring you. And you might learn some things along the way. Okay, that necessarily being mature or taking your life serious or quote unquote being responsible isn't going to give you necessarily. The other one is to laugh. Because look, when bad things happen, when misfortune falls upon you, you have one of two things to do. You're either going to laugh or you're going to cry. Okay? And I always opt for laughing at my misery as opposed to crying about it. Because if I take it lightly, then I realize it's not so bad. I'll get through it. I can get past this. The other thing is ultimately is to have fun. When you realize that like everything can be fun in if you look at it in that way, right? So I mean sometimes like some terrible things happen, right? And I'm just like the only way I can sort of parse this out is to this whole idea of just having fun ultimately. The other thing is to not take things so serious. Um, yeah, I think taking things lightly is probably the best approach. I don't think being so serious, at least for me, it hasn't worked for me personally. So I would much rather not take things serious. And mind you, the funny thing is, by not taking things serious, is I'm able to move and maneuver through things lightly. I'm very brisk. I'm on my toes because I don't necessarily give it the thought, right? That maybe somebody that's more serious is going to do, right? They bring out their notebooks, they write the pros and cons down, they do the ROIs, and they try to figure out, well, what could happen here and what could happen there. All the speculation, all these things are out of my control. So the only thing I focus on is how can I get the desired outcomes, right? And in that journey, right, in that back and forth, I find things about myself or I learn certain lessons about the world that I otherwise wouldn't have if I took things too serious, right? Or if I second guessed myself, if I doubted my decisions. Right. So this whole idea of male maturity, absolutely discard it. Don't take it for word, right? There's a lot of people that come out here with this like serious mentality. Like you got like a Jordan Peterson that comes out here saying, be responsible and take your life serious and all that. And sure, maybe there's some utility in that, but to be like a weasel, to be angry all the time is not really like, well, what are you gonna get out of that? What are you gonna get out of that? Have a little bit more fun. Um, Enjoy it while you can. And to be honest with you, like I've tried being serious and it was just too hard. It was too hard to maintain that performance for too long. So I just was like, this is my default. My default is to be a kid, to be a goofball, to laugh, to say whatever I want, to do whatever I want. And if the consequences come, then they come, and I guess I'll have to deal with them then. But I'm not willing to not live in tune with what I think feels right for me. And so if you're grappling with the idea of like, oh, I have to transition and be more serious and take my life more serious, you can do that and still have fun in the process. Okay, you just got to figure out what that looks like for yourself. Um, but that's the most important thing. don't fall into the trap of quote unquote adulting. That whole thing is ridiculous. It's unfounded. Um, there's plenty of people that are old. If you ever run into old people, super goofy, love to have fun, and still get stuff done. So it's not like you need one or the other. They can coexist. Okay, you can still be a responsible person and still have fun. Anyhow, I hope this helps. I'll see you in the next